juga untuk Astra Honda Racing Team dan juga Junior Talent Team, terima kasih sudah bekerja minggu ini dengan sangat baik. Saya membalas kesalahan saya kemarin di qualifying. Saya harus start dari nomor 24, tapi yang hari ini untuk Indonesia.
The podium, at least on one occasion throughout the weekend, it was a surprise there. And now he comes to the European Talent Cup for a little play about, and he starts P7, as does the reigning British Talent Cup champion, Ethan Sparks. He's out on circuit here today, and he goes from P11.
Very talented grid, obviously coming through the ranks with BTC champion and MTC champions. Finn, the number 20, has raced in BTC a bit this year, but the priority has been looked up when he wiped the floor to gain that title.
Now though, the grid not too far away from getting the action going as we go to look at Alvaro Lucas there. We can see him sitting chilling on the grid a few moments ago. He was looking to bounce back after his fall over at Mazzano. It was quite a big high side for him, but luckily looks like he's ready to go yet again.
He does look ready to go. Yeah, a massive high side at Mazzano for the number 46. One victory, 3 podiums this season. We'll be hoping he can go with the lead group. That will be the crucial thing to start with. Get with that lead group, stay in contention, and then make your moves at the end of this 13-lap race.
So the 1 minute board about to be raised here in Barcelona, and we're nearly ready to go for the European Talent Cup. You can see a sticker there for Noah Detweiler. Of course, we send our best wishes to him up here in the commentary box, as does the whole Paddock or Fox Remain with him and his team. Some positive signs over the last couple of days, and certainly we hope to see him make a full recovery after his fall at the Malaysian Grand Prix, as does Jose Antonio Rueda. Now, not too far away from actually unfolding. 13 laps of action coming up. Plenty of time to make some moves.
Plenty of time to make some moves indeed. It will be a frantic 13-lap race, especially with Bahosa, Lucas, a whole host of riders trying to fight their way through the field after their penalties. Especially Bahosa, because as we said, he's got to take that long lap. He can only take it when race direction tell him he can take it, which will probably, well, it won't be the first lap, because obviously that will be at turn 1. Likely will be the start of the second lap, will be his first chance to take it. Then it depends on when he takes it.
Now though, it's all about tactics on the grid. You had a look there at Ethan Sparks, little thumbs up to the camera. He did, but he has a little bit of work to do if he wants to fight with the likes of Carlos Cano, who of course will be launching this one from pole position. The teams now make their way off the grid back to the pit lane, meaning we are just moments away from action getting underway here in the European Talent Cup. So Cano looking strong, looking confident, and now looking ready to race. We're about to head out on our formation lap. As the grid is getting set, we are getting settled in for the race. Carlos Cano goes from pole alongside Travis Borg, and Fratelli goes from P3. Tassini, Karpushin and Perez go from row 2, with your reigning NTC champion Finn Crackerville from Borelli and Alvaro Lucas on row 3. The TB, Ethan Sparks and Remy San Juan go from row 4, with Dakagan, Galan and Boxberger on row 5. Tamburini, Garcia and Martinez go from row 6. Rounding out your top 20 is Osorio and Mikey Luis Sanchez, with Alex Longarella going from P21. Your championship leader, Fernando Bahosa in P22, with Gabarini and Ramadipa on row 8. Mario Landa, Almeida and Cantos on row 9. Savino, Gutierrez and Da Costa round out our 10 rows of European Talent Cup talent. Now, out onto the formation lap, the cycle lap we go. Now ready to get going. Just one warm-up lap awaits, and it's nearly time for Carlos Cano to see how many points he can claw back in his championship deficit.
As we mentioned, a great opportunity for the number 1 to claw points back over Bahosa with his penalty and the long lap, the back of the grid penalty, and the long lap to serve. You just see, I think this is Remy San Juan in pit lane. So we saw this earlier. Going from pit lane, will join the warm-up lap, can take original grid position, but will probably have a double long lap in the race to take.
Yeah, so Remy San Juan was originally meant to be starting in P12, but
masih warning up,
that's
aman-aman.
a more difficult task at hand of having to push that bike back into pit lane and put it back on the starter motor, so either it's cut out on him, or perhaps he's just stalled it whenever he's heading out onto the warm-up lap. But an important warm-up lap this is, time to get temperature into the tyres. These European Talent Cup machines, it's the class that matters the most about corner speed. It's the class that you need the confidence on the front to roll it through the middle of the corner, and definitely some of these trickier turns, like turn 5, it can really catch out on these machines.
It can. It's not. It is warm. It was the graphic said 20 degrees. The track temperature was also 20 degrees, so it's not a particularly hot track at the moment. And turn 5 especially, it will be the first left-hander in a while for these riders. Very easy to lose the front under braking. You don't want to be caught up in someone else's accident there as well, which is crucial because it is an overtaking hotspot. There are lots of long, fast corners throughout this circuit. Tyre life, very important.
And you can see there, Alex Longarella wanting just to drop back ever so slightly. And this is how things stand heading into this one. Fernando Barrosa, your championship leader, just 9 points ahead of Carlos Cano. Of course, different ends of the grid for them. A really interesting race coming up. Some clouds in the air now. It did start off this morning as nice blue skies. Certainly the clouds beginning just to home in ever so slightly.
Yeah, the forecast was dry, which is the crucial thing. Cloud could become cloudy. It is becoming cloudy. Will obviously have an impact on air and track temperature. I was just out in Park 5, still very warm.
Still low, that side of the circuit looks nice and warm. Certainly looks blue skies at that side. So we'll have to see what the weather gods have planned. Final couple opportunities to get some temperature in the tyres. You can see doing a little bit of weaves going to the grid is your pole setter Carlos Cano as he pulls in to P1. He pulls into pole position. The red flag waits at the front. That will be taken away after the green flag waves at the back, meaning everyone is set and ready to go. Remy San Juan has took his original grid slot. You can see that in the background there as the 99 gets ready to go racing. So the green flag waves at the back. The red lights are about to appear on the European Talent Cup race 1. The red lights are on now. And we do go racing. It's a great start for Pratelli from the front row of the grid, from 3rd place as he looks to take the lead on the run to turn 1. How will that hold though on the braking zone 2, turn 1 now? Karpushin as well put himself into potential podium positions. Carlos Cano already getting his elbows out on the run to turn 1.
Jauh banget RAMADHIPA belakang.
Now is the rest of the field. Alvaro Lucas losing a little bit of ground himself as he slots in just ahead of Ethan Sparks. But it's the 67 of Pratelli that leads away. Tassini slots into 2nd and Borelli in 3rd.
I was just checking Barrosa's progress. He's already up to 11th. A superb start for the number 69. The perfect start that he could have asked for. As for Pratelli as well, exactly what he needed to get off the line and into P1. Cano down to P5.
Nice and clean for the entire field in this one. 13 laps do remain. A move now being made for Tassini as he looks to reclaim that 2nd position. And Carlos Cano, well, he's sitting inside the top 5 at the moment. Incident at turn 5, and that is going to be a fall. That's going to be in the TV, it looks like. The number 9 falling there at turn 5. So disappointing end to his race. As well, you can see the 94 losing a lot of ground potentially due to that incident. That's Osorio. He came through the last chance race earlier on this morning. But there is Fernando Barrosa, the bright pink helmet, already fighting his way inside the top 10. P7 as things stand. Finn Krakovil, of course, your 2025 NTC champion. He was briefly inside the top 5, soon to be pushed back as Barrosa launches a move down the inside. He's inside the top 5. There has been a faller at turn 10. Hopefully, everyone is okay down there. You can see 2 riders down on the deck at turn 10.
We see 2 riders down. Just to note that Barrosa has been told he can take his long lap penalty. Again, the perfect start considering the circumstances for him, right in the mix of the lead group. Cano defending from Barrosa, it looked like, through the final corner. We will see now whether Barrosa decides to take that long lap now or try and build a gap to the pack behind and come out further ahead, if you like.
Yeah, and a lot of shuffling now being done across the line. You can see in the TV that was your crash over at turn 5 on the opening lap, but confirmation of that fall for the number 9. As now moves beginning to be made. Almeida was on one of our followers at turn 10. but some real key moves being made. That was Finn Krekoville making moves as Carlos Cano looks to enter his way into the podium places because, well, Fernando Barrosa, he's already in there, already fighting for the podium. The championship rivals go side by side into turn 4. It's going to be Cano who gets the better of Barrosa.
Cano getting the better of Barrosa there, as you say. Perhaps not what Cano expected so early in this race. I'm sure he expected Barrosa to be close to him by the end of it, but not after, or not on the second lap. Of course, the pressure ramping up now for Cano and Barrosa. Barrosa, if he can get ahead, take the long lap, and still remain in that top 4, who look like they've broken away as he makes the move into turn 7. A brave move there for Barrosa. Can he hold it through 8? He can, but Cano might be able to get a run into turn 9.
Into turn 9 we go now. It's going to be all about the slipstream. You can see confirmation of the long lap penalties, of course, one of them being for Fernando Barrosa. And, well, he's going to have that to do. Remy San Juan has been given that double long lap for his bike stalling on the grid, having to get that bike restarted. But nonetheless, we will continue on the action at the front of things. It continues to be Pertelli leading the way. Now, Pertelli, he's been such a great force at the front of the field. And there's confirmation of San Juan's long lap penalty as Carlos Cano, unless the number on the green there. He doesn't want to do that too much. It is the European Talent Cup. Corner speed matters. And this is the classic. You tend to see riders run it a little bit too wide.
Running on the green during the race, but not the last lap, you will receive warnings, and too many infractions will see you get a long lap penalty. We just see the run into turn 1. It's Pertelli defending from Borelli. Cano swoops to the normal racing line. He's got the slipstream. He's ahead into the braking zone. Can he hold it? With Lucas now into contention as Barrosa takes his long lap penalty. But he did touch the green. Yeah,
Barrosa took his long lap penalty, but has he exceeded the white lines? It looked like potentially did a bubble on the front as Remy San Juan, his hand goes up in the air in frustration as well. But they both rejoin out on circuit. We'll have to wait for confirmation that that penalty has definitely been served. Or if he's going to have to go in there yet again. Carlos Cano, though, at the head of the field, ahead of Alvaro Lucas. Now, Lucas, we've seen, of course, at Misano, a big high side. It's not affected his confidence at all as he looks for a move over at turn 5. He thinks better of it. Number 4 of Ticini lurking there over at turn 5. He's sitting there in 3rd place, though, with a big gaggle of riders just behind him. A nice big battle at the front. Karpushin also involved.
Exactly what we expected from ETC in these early stages. Cano out in front. Oh, very close to the green through turn 8 there. Couldn't really tell if they touched it. That looked like Borelli making a move through turn 9 as he looks to fight for the podium in these early stages as Cano still leads.
Yeah, Cano continues to lead over at turn 10. He's got Alvaro Lucas on the outside, and that's going to invite an opportunity for Ticini, not only to go into second, but also briefly the lead. But he ran it wide, and Cano straight away taking no prisoners. He's already back into P1, already defending his slot as well. We wait to see what Longarella can do, of course. He had a penalty given to him yesterday as well. In the 45, still mathematically in championship contention, also working his way in the order into P8.
Just a note on Barrosa, after that long lap, he has rejoined in P10, around a second off the lead. He's at the back of the lead group, so if he did serve it correctly, it has worked out fairly well for the number 69.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure Race Director will have a double check at that and make sure that everything was served. Right as looking up the inside is Alvaro Lucas. Can he hold on to the lead? No, he cannot, because it's Pertelli from the outside who swoops round on the normal racing line. Borelli still sitting in second as there is Fernando Barrosa. As we look back at the start of things and look back to the action that unfolded. And well, that was Fernando Barrosa, it looked like, making a move at the start. Definitely moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. Heading into turn 1, though, things were pretty clean overall, and you can just see how Barrosa managed to make up so much ground round the outside there on Ethan Sparks. As now we do continue on, 10 laps do remain in the action. Karpushin getting moved back a few more positions, and that's now Alvaro Lucas ahead of him. Now number 51 of Dakigan just ahead as well, as Carlos Cano is back, as we do have a follower down there, and we wait to see exactly who that is. Yellow flags, of course, out at turn 7, losing the front on the entry to things, and Fernando Barrosa's name is dropping down the timing screens. The number 14 is down. Fernando Barrosa loses the front over at turn 7, and that's all she wrote in Barcelona. A massive moment in the championship.
Pelan-pelan tapi pasti.
RAMADHIPA masuk 10 besar, guys. So Barrosa down with 10 laps remaining.
Barrosa, I mean, he made the perfect start. He did everything he needed to before that long lap came out at the right time. But yeah, a crash at turn 7.
Hampir masuk di rombongan.
Very much advantage Cano now in the title fight.
Very much advantage, as you said, as Longarella moves his way into second position. Now chasing on the rear wheel of Pratelli. He has a good drive. He'll have a little bit of a slipstream as well in the run to turn 1 as well. Well, Pratelli, as we head towards turn 1, 4, 5 wide, 6 wide between the front runners. Incredible stuff from ETC yet again. Karpushin working his way into the podium places now. As Pratelli still at the head of things. Alvaro Lucas now in second.
Alvaro Lucas in second. We've just had confirmation that Barbosa has retired from the race, so no chance of the number 69 rejoining side by side with Cano through turn 3. Can he get the move done into 4? He looks like he's just got ahead, but it's going to be close heading into the braking ahead with Travis Borg.
Looking at the live championship standings, if the checker flag came out now, it would just be 1 point separating Barbosa and Carlos Cano heading into the final round of the season. Things could get spicy over this next 9 laps of action. We'll wait to see what's going to unfold here, because of course Barbosa's teammate is still on the run and still wants to see for the AC Racing team out in circuit.
Barbosa still has a chance for other riders to limit the damage for him, as we see go right across the green at turn 8 there. I think that was Dak 1. Losing out into turn 9. Yeah, Barbosa still has a chance for other riders to limit this damage for him, but it's all on what Cano can do at this point.
And of course, with that fall for Fernando Barbosa, is going to put out a chance of a championship win this weekend. Even for Carlos Cano, he's of course too far back, just 25 points up for grabs here in Barcelona. But nonetheless, we still have an amazing 8 and a bit laps left in this ETC race, and certainly one that's going to shape the championship. This is going to be one of the races, when we come to the end of year awards that we speak about, this is one of the deciding races in the championship.
It absolutely will be spoken about by the riders and everyone in this paddock, given what's happened, the drama from yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening with the penalties, Barbosa's amazing start, the long lap, and then the crash. It will be a defining weekend in this year's title fight.
Well, yeah, exactly. We were just looking back at how Barbosa was able to make up so much moves on the opening lap, and then sadly for him, everything unfolded. Borelli now back up into the podium places. He pushes Karpushin back to P4, and now moves certainly being made because number 7 in 2 seconds slots in ahead of Alvaro Lucas. Now, another corner yet to come at turn 4. Is it going to be the lead change for Pratelli and Borelli at the front of things? Number 7 looks up the inside, unable to make it work, as Longarella makes a few more moves now up the inside of Karpushin.
Pratelli defending very strongly on the brakes at pretty much every corner. You would see Borelli, he is making the move at turn 5, taking the lead. We also see
a few more moves now being made, yeah, and that looked to be Alvaro Lucas getting moves. You see in the background here, just losing the front. He was quite wide on the entry, it looked like there, from the brief shot that we got of him as well. Down in the gravel, luckily up on his feet straight away, but you can see head on hands at the gravel trap. He knows how important and how big this moment is.
That would have been going through his mind straight away. Obviously okay walking away from the crash, the most important thing, but yeah, losing the front a bit wide on entry, and that's the race done for Barbosa.
And now it's all on what can the likes of Carlos Cano and Alex Longarella do. Longarella, however, hits the front of things. That's exactly what he needs to be doing. Carlos Cano, if he's seen that move behind, if not, it's going to be on. It would have been on his pit board. You would imagine that Barbosa out of the race. Now he knows to be nice and sensible. However, it looks like Karpushin launched the move on Travis Borg, as Carlos Cano, he got demoted a few positions, and since then he's not really been able to get himself back into the podium places again.
It looked like he had a bit of a moment a couple of corners ago, which is why I sort of jumped up in the commentary box. He is okay, he is on track. He has dropped down the order into P7, however, and there is a bit of a gap to Travis Borg ahead, who was miles out on the green through the final couple of corners as well. Definitely something to keep an eye out through the latter stages of this race.
Alvaro Lucas up on the inside, slots back into 3rd place ahead of
akhirnya masuk rombongan.
As 6-7 on Pratelli continues to lead. Tension down there in the 72 Art Box Racing team squad. As, well, final couple of possessions actually inside the points. Tamburini and even Sparks taking up them. Finn Crackville, he was involved in this lead fight. Now, though, he has dropped down. However, this lead fight, it's massive. This front group, around 14 riders in distance, as well Alvaro Lucas continuing to fight his way. Lucas has been one of these riders that is not afraid to get his elbows out, and yet again over at turn 5 he looks up the inside. It's exactly what you need to do, because if you're not making moves, you begin to go backwards, as we're seeing with the likes of Karpushin.
yeah, if you're not making moves in ETC, you are going backwards. Someone will be looking to make a move on you. Pirelli looks like he's trying to put a bit of a gap to Fratelli just behind in second, but it's ETC. The run into turn 10, the slipstream will be crucial. We see double long laps for number 11, that's Cantos, and 90 for Osorio. That's for taking shortcuts at turns 1, 2, and 3, and without losing sufficient time.
Yeah, of course, you need to lose around the second in that sector. Otherwise, you will be slapped with a penalty for it, as you see a few more moves being made over at turn 10. Definitely a hot spot in the European Talent Cup class. It's a good opportunity just to get alongside.
Terasa guys, mulai tegangnya.
And at that
Karena
point,
RAMADHIPA kan di urutan 24
You can get up the
naik
inside
ke
and
17,
if you can't, you can take
17 naik terus sampai ke posisi 8 sekarang. Jadi ada 7 lap lagi, masih ada waktu, masih ngejar ya. Yang penting masuk rombongan sih ini.
To take the lead briefly, at least on the run into turn 1, with Pirelli currently just behind.
Now, Fratelli and Pirelli, both of them are going to be wanting to take victory here, obviously. But as well, they will need to keep in mind they're both from the POSISI Racing squad, and the last thing they're going to want to do is collide or make any sort of contact with each other. But certainly, it's been those two in the top 2 for majority of this race in the last couple of laps. As now Carlos Cano puts a stop to that as he enters P2, and now is on the attack. You see now a slightly wider entry to turn 3, trying just to take more sweeping wide, and trying just to carry a little bit more corner speed towards turn 4.
Trying to take the corner speed through turns 2, 3, and 4. Having to defend from Pirelli at turn 4. The number 7 up the inside, so Cano into 3rd. But now is the time for Cano to start making the moves. It looks like he actually got the cutback through 4. So can he outbrake the number 7 into turn 5? He can. So he's P2 as it all bunches up right behind the number 1.
Yeah, Alvaro Lucas putting on a pretty aggressive pass there on car, pushing. It seems to be a turn 5 hotspot for Lucas. He loves to make a move through there as he does look up the inside of Travis Borg as well. Thinks better of it on the M-Lab racing rider. Carlos Cano, in the meanwhile, looks towards a move at turn 9. Perhaps he'll just sit behind and try to use the slipstream as we head towards turn 10 yet again.
Slipstream into turn 10, the better opportunity, the less risky time to make the move, as it looks like Cano, he doesn't this time. Actually, he's defending from Alvaro Lucas and Travis Borg right behind him, but he does hold on to that provisional podium spot.
We do continue on. 5 and a bit laps to go. We soon enter the last handful of laps. Some great action so far in this race. I think it's fair to say Travis Borg right on the rear tail unit of Carlos Cano as we head towards the final corner now. Moves have been made here today already, and I wouldn't be surprised in the final lap of the European Talent Cup if we see another get made.
It will be the final opportunity for the riders on the final lap to make that move. Of course, you could compromise your exit, which then means you lose it on the run to the line, so it would be interesting to see how these different strategies play out. One thing to note, we are approaching 2/3 race distance, so if a red flag was to come out, results would be called, race would be called, full points awarded. We see Travis Borg going up the inside from P4 across the line into P1.
A great move there from Travis Borg, and actually the likes of Fratelli all the way back down to P7 after turn 1. So Fratelli losing a lot of time there. Meanwhile, the likes of Travis Borg, a real gainer of that. However, Carlos Cano looking up the inside at turn 4. The number 1 hits the front. However, for long, well, Pirelli looked for a move to be made, unable to make it work. Cano slightly wider through the mid-corner of turn 4, but he does hold on to things. Will Alvaro Lucas launch another attack at turn 5? Yes, he will. The 46 loves a move here at Barcelona, as Longarella now sitting just outside the top 5. Not too much we've seen from him in the last 2 or 3 laps, but perhaps just biding his time towards this final 3 or so laps.
Not seen too much, but as you say, now is the time to make moves. We also saw Travis Borg and Carlos Cano fighting through turn 5. Borg made the move initially, but Cano was able to fight back straight away. Now has the advantage on the run into turn 10, but doesn't have the slipstream. In fact, he's creating the slipstream for Alvaro Lucas, Travis Borg, and Pirelli. Pirelli looking to go up multiple places, but can't quite make the move still. Cano, obviously a crasher.
That's Fratelli. Fratelli's down, and another one of the AC Racing team riders, of course, that looks to be potentially Ticini down on the ground. So a massive shame from both of them. We will continue on to race at the front. Carlos Cano, 2 corners to go before he heads to make it 4 laps remain. Of course, yellow flags out at turn 10 and 11 as Fratelli does begin to drop down the order. There's confirmation of his fall. Definitely not what he'd be hoping for in this one. Actually, Sanchez also dropping down the order too.
Yeah, it looks like it was Mikey Lou Sanchez and Fratelli. Yeah, we had confirmation of the number 55 being involved in that.
RAMADHIPA maju lagi ke depan, urutan 3.
Very strong
Iya.
races. We see Borelli look like he was going to try a move for P1, but decided to settle for P2.
Guys.
You can just see walking away from the gravel trap, it was Pertelli and the other AC Racing team rider that remains in the race. And here's another view of it. So just looking for a move down the inside, you have to say, was Mikey Luis Sanchez making contact with Pertelli, and then suddenly both riders' races came to an end. So contact and also catching up one of the Australia Lithia riders out there on circuit. So a massive shame for them as well, we continue racing on at the front, but another disappointing end to some riders' races.
Another disappointing end, especially for Pertelli, who had been at the front for most of the race so far. Obviously a bit frustrated. Sanchez will also be frustrated. He was obviously part of that lead group, showing very strong pace. We see on our time screens, it's RAMADHIPA now who leads the
paling pertama guys, RAMADHIPA guys.
E7.
Yeah, Carlos Cano dropping
RAMADHIPA
down the
paling
order
pertama
yet
guys.
again, and RAMADHIPA, what a year it's been for him, of course. Took his first win over at Magny Cours of the season, and what a victory it was. He's shown that he can be aggressive on this last lap, as has Alvaro Lucas as he goes back up the inside at turn 10. Longarella sitting in third place.
Tapi masih
oke
lah.
These little incidents, these collisions are putting less and less riders in this group.
Masuk lagi pertama guys.
Get mixed up in, but Lucas running wide, and now he drops down to P3, promoting the likes of RAMADHIPA back into
RAMADHIPA
back into second.
We spoke about penalties for Bahosa.
Tinggal 3 lap lagi, 3 lap.
Was given the back of the grid start, so he's now fought his way perhaps a bit under the radar to take the lead of this race with 4 laps to go. Unlikely he's going to hold that on this long run into turn 1 with the slipstream that his rivals will get, as Carlos Cano once again taking the normal racing line. Although you see the number 51 of Daquan also take that line, but it's
langsung turun banyak guys.
P1 on the entry into turn 1.
Yeah, great turn 1 for Borelli. Alvaro Lucas continuing to lose some positions, though he just needs to get himself settled in yet again.
Langsung turun ke-7 dari pertama.
10 yet again out on circuit, but Carlos Cano doesn't move away at turn 4. We've seen it time and time again from him. Travis Borg wide off the circuit in the background, but he does rejoin, and Longarella moves through briefly before being sat up by the number 1. To turn 5 we go now.
Turn 5, a crucial moment. Are we going to see any moves? It looks like Longarella on the inside of Cano doesn't quite get it done. Borelli still leads, with Cano having to defend from the number 45.
Borelli's looking nice and comfortable at the front of this race. I think it's fair to say the number 7, he's looking nice and confident, and certainly over the line, just over 1/10 of a second he held. He showed no signs of pressure. However, Tassini still in the running for the AC Racing team. A slight gap forming between himself and Longarella, but as we see time and time again in the European Talent Cup, as we go down the straight, usually those gaps close nicely.
Those gaps will close nicely. As we see Longarella, does he make the move on Borelli? Not this time. Cano right behind in P3, up the inside at turn 11. Had to stand up a little bit, stays on the bike, but loses a couple of bike lengths to the number 45. He'll gain those back through the next couple of corners.
Couple of corners left on this lap before we head to the penultimate circulation around this iconic circuit. It is going to be the dress rehearsal as we have a little replay, a little look back to this moment for Carlos Cano. Briefly lost the rear as he got on the power. Nice and, well, not nice and smooth, but nice and hard, and certainly for him, losing a little bit of ground. What can we do, though, on these final 2 laps? It's certainly building to be a showstopper in the European Talent Cup. Will it be Cano? Will it be RAMADHIPA? Could it even be Tassini? We're going to have to wait and find out. RAMADHIPA
hits the front. RAMADHIPA hitting the front at turn 1. We've seen him be at the front of the field throughout this race, despite that penalty that he was given. It's a remarkable comeback for the number 32. We see the tension in the 72 Motorsport Art box.
Yeah, and certainly Carlos Cano's father watching on with a little bit of tension, I think it's fair to say, watch his son do battle out on circuit. Currently, Cano showing his 4th for the timing screens, but sitting around 6th or 7th position out on circuit. A big moment there for the number 51. Cano's going to take advantage of that as Longarella also looks up the inside at turn 5. It's full on elbows out action. Nobody taking anyone from prisoners for this one. Karpushin up into second as well. He's gone under the radar after fighting his way from about 5th or 6th position. He has gone under the radar, but now, as we said before, last couple of laps, this is the time to get in position to make the move.
Satu lap lagi guys.
We see Lucas having a potential look at turn 9. Doesn't look like he made the move 6. Carlos Cano on the run into turn 10 will probably need to get ahead of Tassini here. He goes up the inside, under braking, sliding his way in, and again very close to the number 4 there.
Sangat-sangat dekat sekali. Dua lap lagi.
Does slot back into third. He does wait a little bit longer. This is the dress rehearsal, and it is now over. It's all time.
Tegang guys, tegang guys.
It's time for elbows out action at the front, all things to the European Talent Cup. Remember, the sole race of the weekend. 25 points here in Barcelona before
Modal berani masuk aja nih.
Up for grabs in Valencia. The championship looks to be going to the final round.
Ayo RAMADHIPA.
Way to decide this race now. Last lap thriller. RAMADHIPA leads
Last lap, last lap.
Turn 1.
Aduh. Di belakangnya tuh kayak semut banyak guys. Nah, rombongannya dikejar. Masih bisa nomor 2. Boleh lah. Last lap guys. Last lap. Last lap, last lap. Masih bisa RAMADHIPA. Set by set. Wah, hampir belakangnya. Aduh, kontak dikit tadi. Masih RAMADHIPA, masih bisa RAMADHIPA. Kita lihat ya. Last lap, last lap. Cari momen, cari momen. Cari momen, cari momen. Oh, you go. RAMADHIPA sangat-sangat dekat sekali. So close. Last lap, teman-teman, kita lihat last lap. Masih bisa masuk RAMADHIPA. Masuk RAMADHIPA-nya. Nggak berani dia maksa. RAMADHIPA, bisa masuk. RAMADHIPA-nya masuk. Hampir. Tipis-tipis guys. Tipis guys, jangan sampai ada apa-apa ya. Tipis.
After that error, but Carlos Cano, 2 corners now remain. Will it be himself or RAMADHIPA? Could it be a last corner move?
Corner nice.
The inside, but Cano swoops round, and it is going to be Carlos Cano who takes victory.
RAMADHIPA bisa.
It's a drag race.
RAMADHIPA masuk.
We await to see on the timing screens.
RAMADHIPA nomor 1.
Thousands of a second.
Yes.
Cano,
Indonesia.
A massive day in the championship.
RAMADHIPA guys. Pertama sih aku nonton sosok jujur ya, hampir nggak mau ngerekam ini tadi tuh, tapi karena sudah dekat makin kesininya makin bagus RAMADHIPA-nya, akhirnya bisa podium 1 guys. RAMADHIPA nomor 1. Wow, luar biasa. RAMADHIPA. Posisi 24 guys. Posisi 24. Posisi 24.
Even Sparks picking up a top 10 finish. So even Sparks on the 62 machine.
Posisi 24.
Reigning British Talent Cup champion, showing once again that he.
Posisi 24. RAMADHIPA. Posisi 24.
We see something from him, of course, promoted to the Red Bull Rookies Cup next year, as well as have a lot of these riders. But what a final.
Posisi RAMADHIPA keren ya, udah masuk ke kategori di urutan ke-4 ya guys.
Celebrations beginning with his teammate, of course, the Honda Asia Dream Race and Junior team. A really, really professional outfit. And I don't think RAMADHIPA can believe it. But Carlos Cano does stop.
RAMADHIPA
gives handshakes to the
keren,
marshals.
masuk dia.
As he will make his way to Park Fermi. He'll know how important this race is. He'll know that Fernando Bajosa has either scored nothing at all, or he's scored very, very little, of course.
Keren, RAMADHIPA.
Over at turn 7 could be a deciding moment in
posisi 1 guys. Happy kita, happy nih, happy. Happy kita, happy. Lihat RAMADHIPA posisi 1.
Begin to celebrate.
Tidak sia-sia guys. RAMADHIPA-nya posisi 1 guys.
course, podium finisher so far this season at the likes of Ref and Aragon. And also plenty of experience of racing in the likes of the Rebel Rookies Cup. Just getting told that he needs to go and quickly get weighed, make sure that everything is correct there, and then, of course, the celebrations can well and truly begin.
Indonesia, Ramadhipa.
Here's your race winner, though. Ramadhipa, what a moment it is. He's in disbelief, I think it's fair to say, emotional, to say the very, very least. The 32
Ramadhipa.
is P1. Who gets technical checks done.
Keren, Ramadhipa.
Of course, P4 in the Asia Talent Cup last year.
Oke, Ramadhipa. Thank you guys. Yang pasti Ramadhipa nomor 1.